So Saturday, Hull away and the season starts for real. Here's where I think United are after 6 pre-season games and a schedule that took them all around Europe. The good news is that we can give Carrick and his coaching staff and the 2 new players some real credit here. The team can play, and I mean really play. They've got a distinctive style, and I think they're going to be more proactive and more controlled than last season. United's build-up is controlled. It's attractive. The tempo is calm and then fast. And when United go forward, they're going forward with a plan rather than a prayer. It's less Hollywood ball. It's less scattergun. United are going to be one of the most attractive sides in the Premier League in possession this season. The bad news is all the stuff I worry about happens when United don't have the ball. And I think it splits into 2 problems, which makes it kind of serious. One is the players we have. The squad just does not have the legs it needs. Nowhere near. The other is coaching. Because I think some of what went wrong against Ruben Amorim's Milan was not about personnel at all. 2 problems then, 2 fixes, 2 weeks of the window left. Let's get into it. All right, so what's right? I think the evolution we expected has been visible in pre-season. We're controlled, we're very, very connected in midfield, and we're attractive. It's less frantic than anything that Amorim or Ten Hag gave us. It's also less prosaic than the back end of last season when I think Carrick ball was very pragmatic for understandable reasons. We're vertical with a purpose. It's not vertical with hope in mind. I think in Tielemans and Santos, we've got 2 excellent footballers who play non-scattergun, line-breaking passes. And that's going to be very, very good for us. Andrey Santos, pre-season story, I think. Honestly, 48 million plus a couple from Chelsea. He barely played there. He's got less than 30 games of Premier League experience. But he's been excellent again in all, I think it was 5 games he played. He's busy, gets around a lot. He's defensively well-positioned. He's always looking forward with the passing. I think he's ready to start for United, no doubt. The question with him really is, can he play 50-plus games? That seems very unfair. Then Tielemans, outstanding purchase at 35 million. Obviously, we haven't seen a lot of him in pre-season yet because of the World Cup. He's a proper passer. He played 90 minutes against Milan alongside Bruno. The result wasn't great, obviously, but he's the kind of profile of player that we've missed, I think, probably since Carrick stopped playing. He does a bit of everything. He's a brilliant passer, line-breaking numbers, as high as anyone in the Premier League. He is good at duelling. He does get around. He's not the most physical. We'll get back to that bit. Then you've got Mainoo, back in the picture after World Cup. He spent on the bench. But no one's actually explained to us yet. Carrick said expect a big season from him. I think that too. Doesn't mean he's the perfect player. I'd like to see him be a little braver with his passing. I've said that for 2 years. He's had some issues, let's say, over the last 12 to 18 months or so, most of which aren't his own fault. But this is a season where he progresses big time, I think. And then you've got Mount, who looked really good in the early part of pre-season at 8 alongside Santos before inevitably getting injured. We don't know how serious that is. We were told it's not very, but he missed 2 games as a result. And so, what have we got? We've got 4 really high-quality footballers for 2 spots in there. All of them want the ball. All of them are good passers. That's a good problem to have. The balance isn't quite right. We'll talk about that in more detail later. Then we've got a question over the chance creation ceiling. So I think a lot of last season's Carrick ball was very pragmatic. I think that was fair. It was a mid-block out of possession. The rest defence was very coherent. They didn't get too many bodies forward. It got them 3rd place and the Champions League. I cannot blame Michael Carrick at all for the way United played last season. I know some people on Twitter do forget that. It still produced the 3rd highest XG in the league. That is incredible, really, from where we came. And some of that is on Amorim. Give him the credit there. United were moving towards creating better chances and more chances. But I think the brilliance came from, too much of it came from individuals and not the game model itself. Bruno and Mbumo, Šeško, Cunha, Ahmad. Those are individual moments rather than the machine creating those chances. So the ask this season from me is chances from structure consistently, not just from someone producing something magic. That's a cherry on the top of the cake. So what's the difference between 3rd and a title challenge? I think it's that last bit. It's the system creating lots of chances and the brilliance of the players executing on it. What's wrong? Well, I want to talk about legs. And in many ways, this kind of sounds like 4 complaints, but it's really one. There's just still not enough athleticism to support the football Carrick wants. You've added Andrey Santos, who's a good athlete, but not a great athlete. And Tielemans, who's not a great athlete. I mean, he's fit. He's professional, but he's not going to cover 40, 50 yards of lateral space all the time. It's not his role. So where does this lack of legs shows up? It shows up in midfield with Tielemans, who's better with legs beside him. He had Amadou Onana at Aston Villa, for example. Same with Mainoo, we know. And same with Santos. He can't be the engine, the passer, and the ball winner all at once. I don't think that's fair. So, any two of the three can get lovely control, but not enough people covering the ground. It's an issue to solve. Centre-back. Maguire, the renewal was really good business. It makes a lot of sense. He's been excellent under Carrick. He headed the opening goal against Milan, of course, but I fear that this is one season too many as a regular starter. Love him in the squad. Don't think he should be starting 50 games this season. He's just not mobile enough. And a back four that can't cover the space gets exposed the second United's press breaks down, of which I'm going to talk about a bit more in a little bit. I want Yoro and or Heaven to have a really big season. I want one of them starting pretty much every game. Now, whether it's Heaven on the left-sided defence because Martinez isn't fit, could move him to the right, although it's not his preferred position, or whether it's Yoro when Maguire is rested or not fit, one of them has to have a really big season. And then the other area that left-back shows up, the other area in which the lack of athleticism and physicality shows up is obviously at left back. Should really worry us. Luke Shaw is the only senior option at the club. How can that be true? We still not have signed an alternative or a successor to Shaw. He played 90 minutes against Milan and he was genuinely dreadful. They even switched it to United's left, or their right, all of the time to target him. He cannot cover enough ground. We talked about it a lot last season, in that we were surprised how little he was overlapping when United moved to a flat back four. It was Dalot who's the one who's most forward, and he doesn't have the quality in the final third. Sure does, but he can't get there anymore. His legs do not seem to allow him to do it. And we can't trust that he's going to be fit. Amas is developing, but I think he's much more likely to be loaned or sold than challenging Shaw for a position in the squad. You can't start a Champions League campaign asking an academy kid with almost no professional experience to fix the problem. One signing next fortnight, a ball-winning midfielder, a left-back. We need both. Will we get either? It's really bloody unclear. Not all of this is personnel, though. Some of it's coaching, and some of it's what these players are being asked to do. United's press really didn't work against Milan. Carrick didn't ask his team to press that aggressively last season. It was mostly a mid-block. I think that made sense, given the problems United had with pressing under Ten Hag and Amorim. Why would he do anything different? The mid-block was pragmatic. It got to United the third, fair dues. But to compete for anything real, you have to win it higher. You have to get cheap goals. Pressing coordination is nowhere near good enough. Milan's a great example. It was 4-2 and probably worse than the scoreline. I'd led twice and then conceded 3 from close range, plus Loftus-Cheek running clear, of which there were 3 or 4 examples of that as well. The bit that bothered me a lot is an Amorim team. You know exactly what they do in build-up. And the answer to it isn't that complicated. You let the keeper have it. You man-mark the back 3. You wait for the up, back and through as the trigger. United surely should have worked that out in 90 minutes against a system that most of the dressing room had to suffer through. That wasn't a personnel issue. That was in preparation. Fair enough, it's pre-season. They won't have put a lot of time into doing the prep there. But it's a fair question about whether there's a coaching gap in Carrick's staff. It's not all on him. It's also having the people that will work on that. The other issue, I think, defensively is in wide areas, and it's really a recurring one. We are conceding from wide areas far too often. Sometimes it's from overloads in wide areas and crossing. A lot of the time it's from those balls in the channel between centre-back and full-back. Over and over again, this has happened. Milan found gaps between the defence and the midfield that weren't big, necessarily. This is not Ten Hag's donut, but they just weren't covered. It's a pattern. Patterns are a coaching responsibility, not personnel, really. So what have we got here? We've got personnel weaknesses, fix it in the market. Game model weaknesses, Carrick needs to find solutions. or he needs to get the staff to help. Both kind of have the same deadline, don't they? It's in a couple of weeks' time. So what is new? Well, we haven't seen Šeško at all. Hadn't played a minute of pre-season. He had a shin problem that's carried on from the end of last season. But he's really important for United. 12 goals last year, 11 in the league, joint top scorer. He's the number 9 that you can really build around. He is great with his back to goal. He makes brilliant runs into the box. He's a great finisher with his head and both feet. I was hoping for a really big season for him. He's absolutely a player that can score 25 goals across all competitions in the coming season. So is it no Šeško, no party? I don't know about that. I think they've tweaked a little bit to try and cover this issue, which is why they haven't gone out and bought another forward. I think Mbeumo we found is a decent option centrally. He won't hold it up. He's not great in the air, but he makes those brilliant runs. He's a very good mover and very smart with his running. He's a good finisher as well. And I think they've not tried to play him as a number 9, really, right? Not a Šeško style number 9, but they've tried to play him as more of a poacher and a runner. That gives me some confidence. What are we going to get from him if he's starting the season, which I presume he will start the season up front? He didn't play against Milan. Is someone who will stretch the pitch, give those passers somewhere to pass to. The other option, of course, at number 9 is Cunha. He's different. He likes to drop deep. He likes to link. I don't love him there. He's brilliant in the half spaces, but it ends up with too many similar players in those areas. Cunha, Bruno, Ahmad, Mount, Tielemans, even Lacey in pre-season kind of all want to do the same thing. I'd much prefer Mbeumo up top than Cunha, although Cunha did well in the World Cup in that position for Brazil. Plus, of course, with Marcus Rashford coming back, you have another option. He played his first minutes in what was it, about 20 months against Milan. It was a bright few minutes, I thought, from him. But it gives United another option for playing a number 9. Could be a real option as he gets fitter. Be interesting to see what happens with Marcus in the next week or two. I think he's staying at the club. I think it makes better economic sense for him to stay than to loan him out, get the £15 million back, and then try and find a purchase or a loan that is better than him. Now, the question is, of course, has he solved his off-the-field issues, and there are more than have generally been reported? I think that's probably true. Does he still have the hangers-on that were an issue previously at United? That bit is unclear. His partying on boats suggested not, maybe. I don't know. Is he happy to be part of the squad in the way he was part of the squad at Barcelona, who would absolutely have kept him? Hansi Flick wanted to keep him. The Suits did not, for reasons known to them. But 28 goals and assists last season for Barcelona. Started about half games he played. Was off the bench for the other half. That's the kind of role that he could have at United. It would be very useful. The other issue, of course, is Xerxes. I don't think he's part of this debate. United want him gone and a loan to Italy with an option, or perhaps an obligation is the likeliest route out. So what needs to happen now in the next 2 weeks? Well, there's two things. I think they're on the club, not the manager, for now. One, Ineos, and that's a catch-all term for the club. Wilcox, Barada, Vivel. They need to be active in the last 2 weeks. And this is not just another fan account moaning about transfers. It has to happen. Otherwise, we're going to be very upset in the winter when United's results aren't going for them, and even more upset next spring when we're not back in the Champions League. Our net spend this summer is around £30 million. 30 million. And this is a club that is back in the Champions League and will get another 100 million in revenue. Sure, the EBITDA, the profit on that is much lower with bonuses and so on. But we've got an obvious hole at left back and an obvious needs for more legs that can cover greater amounts of lateral space in midfield. I just don't understand. Well, the club know this. Can they go into another season having not solved these problems? It would be genuinely shocking if they do not, and a real indictment of the ownership. Sure, United was supposedly in for Elliot Anderson, Matthias Fernandes. The deal for Edison collapsed over a medical. Probably more like they got Santos done. Things do go wrong in the transfer window, but we're a fortnight away from the window shutting with the same two problems we had in June. Second is on the coaching team. So when Carrick got the job permanently, we were kind of told through briefings that the staff would be augmented. The club were happy for everyone to know that, and it hasn't happened. That's really odd, isn't it? And after the Milan game, that promise looks like more than an admin detail that's gone wrong, and perhaps something that decides whether this season can be good or great, or a disaster if we don't make the Champions League again. So what happens now? Do we get more midfield legs? Do we get a left back? Do we get to see some new coaches who not only could solve some of United's issues with the defensive side of things, although people do like Jonathan Woodgate, or the pressing side of things, although people do like Steve Holland, but at set pieces as well. We still do not have a set piece coach. Unbelievable in the Premier League that we would allow that to fester. So going into Hull, I think United are better than they were last May. Just about, but they're going to have another 15 games or so this season. We've lost Casemiro's experience, and we've lost 10 set-piece goals last season, but we've added 2 real ball players. I like both of them, Tielemans and Santos. The football's coherent. We've got 3 very good options at number 8. Carrick has earned the benefit of the doubt, and our trust that he's going to solve these problems. The ceiling is the worry for me, though. With the ball, we're ready. Without it, we're short of legs and we're short of answers, and neither gets solved by hoping. They have to do something. So there's 2 weeks of the window left. We've got 2 real big problems to solve. We're going to know a lot by about the first week in September, whether we've done that or not. Signing off. See you for more of this as the season goes on. Bye now.